Batten the hatches. A storm is coming. The question is, what happens when that storm comes? What happens when that storm comes? I'm a teacher, not a speaker. I heard a story that I thought was so amazing. Just the concept alone, whether it's factual or not, to be honest, just the concept alone is extremely encouraging. What do you do when the storm comes? There's one thing that's for certain. We're going to go through storms. So how do we deal with those storms when they come? I heard this dynamic concept of the American buffalo we refer to as bison and cows. They're similar. They're very similar in species. And whenever a storm comes, there's two distinct things that happen that separates the bison from the cows. See what happened, the cows, when the storm comes, both of them, they could sense that moisture in the air. Both of them could detect that, the atmospheric pressure is changing and shifting, so they know what's about to happen. But there's two distinct reactions. You see, the cows, they start running away from the storm. They don't want to get wet. They don't want to get caught up in that strong wind and being soaked. So they start running. A few of them just decide, hey, we're going to stay right here and preserve a dry patch of grass. So they just come together, plot down and say, hey, we're going to just preserve this dry patch of grass. But the cows that are running away from the storm, they may get a little jump on the storm. But one thing that we got to remember, cows could run, but they're not made for running. They can't even run that fast. So what happens is, as they try to outrun the storm, eventually the storm is going to catch them. We can't avoid those storms of life. Eventually, that storm is going to catch them, and they're still trying to run away from that storm. So what ends up happening is they're in the storm trying to run away from it, but they're not running fast. They get tired. Their body starts to wear down, but they keep trying to outrun the storm, which means they end up being in the storm longer. Now, the difference between what the cow does and the American buffalo, aka the bison, when the bison detects that storm, the first thing that it does is it faces that storm. The reason being, the bison's coat, its fur, is a lot thicker around its neck, around its head, and around its shoulders. If you see the bison, it almost looks as if they have a mane. If they face the storm, they understand that they're designed to go through it. They're built for it. They could handle it. They're already equipped for what they need to be successful and to make it through the storm. So not only do they face the storm, right when the storm starts to barrel down on them, they start running. They start charging at the storm. What they realize is, as they run through that storm, they're running to it, and eventually, boom, they're gonna go right through it. So they hit that storm head on. So not only are they equipped and they're ready to take that storm on, they run to it, and then they end up running through it, while the cows are trying to outrun it, and I guess they just get outdone in it, and they get stuck in the rain. So that bison knows it has to face that challenge head on, because that's something that it can't control. I love to say, control the controllables. It can't control the storm, but it can control how it reacts, how it responds, the actions that it's going to take, the steps that it will implement so that it can make it through that storm and make it out as effective, as efficient as possible. So the question is, when we face those challenges, sometimes I would be like that cow. When I was younger, maybe I had to clean up my room or something that I didn't like to do. Maybe I didn't like eating my vegetables. I would try to avoid it. I would try to outrun it. But eventually, I would have to deal with it. What we do in the dark will come to the light. We don't want anything to fester in any level of our life. It's best for us to hit it head on. We can't avoid it. I want us to run to it so that we can run through it. Remember, I'm a teacher, not a speaker. Have an amazing day.